Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Really quickly, I do want to invite you to the PivotBoss monthly market outlook for January 2021, which I will be hosting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 6th at 4 p.m. Central. We'll be looking to jump on and do about an hour perhaps of prospecting candidates for the first quarter of 2021, including futures, stocks, and crypto. We'll also discuss lots of opportunities for the first month and into the first quarter of the year. So again, please join me tomorrow. This is free and open to the public. You can find the Zoom webinar link below. All right, let's take a look here at the daily time frame of the ES. Number one, what you'll see right now is we've seen a rejection here in the previous session, a pretty bearish outside day down, giving us a sell signal here. This is right at the previous high and close of the last month and quarter. We talked about that before yesterday in our first pre-market video of the year, mentioning that typically speaking, that can lead to a rejection early on, and that could give us a pullback as deep as the previous quarter's midpoint here near 3,500. Right now, the key level to watch here early on is going to be the previous month's midpoint right here. And in addition to the previous week's low price, right now we're sitting right on top of it. So basically 36.75 going to be very, very important here. You also have the previous week's low, again, that's at 36.75, and if price can continue to hold that zone throughout the day, 36.70 even, we may see a bit more of a bounce ahead. If there's a failure to hold that zone, we could open up another big round of selling pressure ahead. Basically, is this little overnight pullback here an opportunity for bears to sell and extend this thing downward? Is it going to be kind of a day like this here, where it tries to go higher and fails, and eventually we see a big flush to the downside? Or are we going to see, you know, a reversal back up after a big day like this, right? You get one of these big days down, it kind of holds and reverses. Are we going to bounce out of this pivot range? So today's going to be very important, and 36.70 is going to be the key level to watch there. 36.70 to 36.75. A failure to hold that zone could open up quite a bit more weakness to the previous month's low at 35.96. All right, let's take a look now at the NQ. Right now, the NQ is just below the previous week's low, which is right around the 12,650 level. Price is still holding above the midpoint of the previous month's range. Again, that's a very important level as well. We talked about before, any pullback could be a buying opportunity for a continuation, but if there's a failure to hold that zone, that's what opens up the previous month's low price here near 12,200. So right now, we got to see how price continues to deal with the 12.6 to 12.650 zone. If bulls can continue to hold that zone, perhaps there's a bounce out of here that can happen. So perhaps a day like this after a big day down and we flow higher. Or is it going to give up at 12.6? Something like this day where you see an extension, or something like this day here where you extend to the downside. Which day are we about to get? As of right now, it appears quite weak. Again, price is holding below the previous week's low price, which again would open up more weakness. If there's a failure to hold 12.6, it really opens up more weakness to the downside. Again, with 12.4 and 12.2 down below. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Crude oil here is in a very, very curious spot in the chart. At the moment, you see the previous session had a significant rejection day here, sell signal there. It happened at the previous month's high, previous month's close as well, turned into a bearish outside day down. Now what you're seeing is price is holding right at the midpoint of that rejection day and also at the previous month's close as well. It's testing that zone. Clear 2-day support right now coming into play. This is the optimal zone for bears, early bears to come in and defend. Yesterday I mentioned that price was sitting right at 49s, and that could become a lower high for new lows. That came into play right away. Price dropped nearly 2 handles from that level. This is now the retest entry after yesterday's rejection. that could lead to more selling pressure ahead. So if price cannot get above 48.50 or stay above 48.50 here, we could be looking at the optimal time here for bears to dump in and perhaps look for a stop run through 47s down the road, which could open up a move into 46, maybe even as low as the previous month's low price at 44. All right, let's take a look now at gold futures. Gold with a major move to the upside in the previous session. That was a huge day up. One thing we talked about before was if this thing could hold the 1770 zone, then we may see a 100 handle move to 1870s. We got that move, but we needed to get above 1880 in order to push this thing higher. We needed to be able to hold any pullback into 1825 to 1820. We got it, and everything has been flowing higher ever since. We now got our target zone up ahead. Initially, we mentioned if it can hold here on this pullback, we have a shot to see a move into 1960 to 1980. So that move is still developing right now. You see a push into the previous highs coming into play. That's going to be 1966s. The only thing here to keep an eye on is how is price going to respond above 1980, because it has not been able to find acceptance above that zone in many months. So is this the beginning of a tremendous new up move? Is it this day here which has triggered new strength? Are we about to see a break of this downward channel and see a big liftoff? Or after this big move up like this, are we about to see a turnaround off this level once we hit that zone? So again, while we still have some more short-term weakness or strength here coming into play, there may be a little weakness around the corner here. If there's rejection that comes into play, that could easily return price back toward 1880, and we could kind of stay in this zone here for a while. So right now, a little bit more upside into 1960 to 1980, and then beyond that, we got to watch for the next move. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Again, please join me tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. That's January 6th for our January monthly market outlook. All right, everyone, good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.